This is Brian Gutierrez, and the first thing I'd point out is the submission directions for the assignment is you need to choose File Archive Scene in Maya, and I can see that you submitted a zip file and that it had a bunch of images in it, but it didn't include all the images we needed to see your textures, and they're not linked. So when I go to open your file, what I get is this. And so I can try to relink them. So for example, I can select the sweater, I'll delete history, Alt-Shift-D, go over to the sweater texture, go to the color map, and I can see it's looking for a file called sweatertexture.tiff, and that's in your Mudbox folder. And so I can browse, and this was what was included in your zip file, and I can see there is not a um, file called sweatertexture.tiff. There's sweater texture reference, um, and I can open up that and put that on there. And that looks a little bit like what you have here, except this is kind of straight. And I would say this is, the weave of that is much too big, unless this was like a sort of a doll or something. That wouldn't work very well. Um, so I would tend to go here and maybe increase the UV repeat, maybe to 8 and 8. So that's a little bit more believable. And then, probably fix the UV map, panel UV editor, so that they're appropriately going with the grain of um, the knit there. So it looks like this didn't get fully cut. You can see that ends right here. So double click on that. Click here, Shift X to cut that, and then Control U, Control L, and then I might, shrink these, select these UV shells, shrink them down a little bit to give myself some more room. Or, I mean, this is one case where it actually doesn't really matter if they overlap with each other, unless you're going to start actually painting things. But you can see the grain of that, and then we can make it kind of go along there. Um, Maybe like that, etc. So you can fix those. You might want to get rid of this stretching here. You could see how it's when you put it in smooth mode, it moves that edge quite a lot. You might want to put another edge in there, and then it's not as bad. See that? It's not great, but maybe you want to paint out the seam. And so, but I don't know what you actually did in Mudbox, so maybe it looks different. Although judging from this image, it's not. Maybe it looks like you just sort of projected it on the front really big. Whereas this actually maybe looks a little better. Although there is a little bit of a seam on that texture. Maybe you could trim that a little bit, the image itself. And then again, so here, Alt-Shift-D to delete history. Let's go to pants color. Pants color file 1. Don't have it. So I can't really critique this character because I don't have your texture images. Lambert, flatten, diffuse. Nope. So to do the archive scene, you do File, Archive Scene, continue, and you see it makes this file here in my case. And then so you would just attach that zip file, and that's going to have all the necessary files I would need to actually see the textures on your surfaces.